Hello and welcome to the Better in Business podcast. In today's episode, I want to dive into one of the key problems that entrepreneurs face, or maybe I'll call it a subset of a key problem. So we know that what you want is you want income, you want time, you want purpose, you want joy. I talked about that in a recent podcast where I dived into updates here at betterinbusiness.global. So in terms of the income, one of the things that you want is revenue. So a lot of entrepreneurs, maybe 50% or so, when we survey them, will say, Jeannie, I just need more sales, more clients, more sales. And so in today's episode, I've got some really great stuff to talk to you about and point you towards, maybe more importantly, because this conversation is great, but I'd like to help you beyond this conversation. So let's make sure that I do my best to point you towards resources that can help you with that. I'll see you in the episode. You've tuned into the Better in Business podcast, and I'm your host, Jeannie Savage. I'm a multi-award winning business veteran and head of the Strategic Bookkeeper Network. My network of strategic bookkeepers is dedicated to helping entrepreneurs do better in business. This podcast aims to challenge your thinking. If you're not thinking the right way, how can you act the right way? Each episode will dive into key drivers of success, which I also call the rules of the game. Learn the rules and play to win. Let's go. I like to start every episode by reminding you that it is globally recognized that pillar number one for success is up-to-date, accurate bookkeeping, which is the only way you can see how your business is performing in terms of profit and cash. If your books aren't right up to date, visit betterinbusiness.global, drop me a line and I'll connect you with a certified strategic bookkeeper. Fire your bookkeeper and hire a strategic bookkeeper. Bookkeeping is a cost, whereas strategic bookkeeping is an investment that averages a 10x return on the fees. Hello. Okay, so let's jump into how you can make more sales, find more clients or customers, depending on what you call them, increase your revenue. Okay, so we can increase our revenue absolutely by finding new customers, can't we? Like if we're thinking out loud, because it's really easy, I feel like I'm jumping in the middle here, but it's really easy to think, oh, if I need to make more sales, I need to find new people. But just remember that it is easier to sell things to your existing customers than it is to find new people. Just a little side note. So increasing your revenue, absolutely, you can find new people to buy from you. Or could you solve more problems for your existing customers? Or could you be encouraging them to buy from you again? And I might give you an example. So in this episode, let's throw a bit of paint at the canvas and then give you a way to get in touch with us so that we can help you as well. Because as I said in a recent episode where I dived into the updates here at betterinbusiness.global, and I'm going to refer to a few notes here, we can give you help across done for you, done with you, and DIY. And the reason that's fantastic is it tends to fit into every budget. For example, before I dive into a story, I'm looking at the betterinbusiness.global Academy. And in the Academy, we've got a couple of courses I'm looking at there. One is the Business Mastery Blueprint. And one is brand, the foundation of your business. Now, just for example, with brand, you could use that as a standalone course, which is DIY, or you could use it done with you by working with a strategic bookkeeper. That's definitely my recommendation. But if you're on a real budget, you can talk to us about how you can use it DIY. And then there's more done for you elements. All of them are great. And if you want to know a little bit more about that, I will refer you to the episode on updates to the betterinbusiness.global business platform, academy, and so on. Okay, we'll drop a link to that episode in the show notes, but it should be directly before this episode. So the very last episode before this one, just go back and listen to that. Now, if you have received this podcast from your strategic bookkeeper, whether you're using them now or they're just a business buddy, please do make sure you go back to them or you let me know who they are so we can make sure you stay connected with your strategic bookkeeper. Okay, increase your revenue and back to the story. So while I record this podcast episode, I'm looking at the blueprint that we've got for you that dives into all the moving parts of how to have success in business. Now, increasing revenue, we just said you can sell to new customers, you can solve more problems for existing customers, you can get old customers to give you repeat business. So I was working with an entrepreneur once, and let's call him Tom. And Tom did supply and install of air conditioning systems, both residential and commercial. And while I look here at the Business Mastery Blueprint, I'm looking at one side of it. We'll drop a link in here, okay, in the show notes, so you can get a copy of this, so a visual copy of this blueprint for you to have, print out, put it on your wall, and so on. So I'm looking at how to find audience, and we've got 5 strategies there. Each one is an inch wide and a mile deep, meaning 3 of these strategies you should be doing right now, which is tapping your existing audience, doing business networking, and doing what we call EAPs, which stands for Evergreen Advocacy Partners, also known as partnership marketing. So those 3 can feed you forever. And then if you want to add on from that, we would talk to you about doing paid advertising, which is getting harder and harder in terms of social media paid, Google paid, that kind of thing. And then also summits, which in its own right is reasonably complex to do. Those 2 kind of strategies are standalone and take a bit more education and implementation, but first 3 you can do immediately, should be doing right now. My point with an inch wide and a mile deep is if I give you those 3 strategies and you think, oh yeah, but like I'm kind of doing those and it's not working, you're not kind of doing them. You're scratching the surface of something that is a mile deep. So it's one little strategy that goes a mile deep. In fact, I'll ask you, how did you find your first client? You'll usually say, oh, it was a friend of a friend or someone I knew. Cue existing audience, okay, an inch wide and a mile deep. So this particular supply and install air conditioning client, what I said to Tom is I said, are you keeping in touch with everyone in your database? Everyone you've ever served, are you keeping in touch with them? And he said, not really. What do you mean? So long story short, I got him to so I did actually help him recruit some administration help, and which is what a strategic bookkeeper can do for you. Okay, we've got a lot of feathers in our cap. So I helped him to recruit some admin help, because absolutely you won't win the game without a winning team. So his admin support was there to help him do this. They had a look at their database, they got it in order, they got it into a nice simple system like MailChimp. I'm going to go ahead and recommend either MailChimp or a software called Efficiently. We'll drop a link to Efficiently in the show notes. And if you decide that you want to look at that, please mention Jeannie, and the lovely Kylie Gozelka will take extra care of you and give you VIP care, okay? Efficiently is built off the platform called Go High Level, which is going viral for good reason, okay? So it's a really good CRM, but it's got so much more in there. So basically, Tom's admin assistant, let's call her Sally, she helped him look at the database, get the database in order, and then send out some text messages, because I hate email. Email is so dead, but particularly for trades. Well, email's not dead. Email's great as a part of your communication, but it's not always the best method. Think about how many emails do you have in your Gmail account? I've got 1,500, and I set it up to not have spam in it. Okay, so just bear in mind that for some industries, text messaging is great, and tradies is usually one of them. So they sent out text messages to all of their clients just to say hello. Really nicely crafted, very short and sweet. I call it manners marketing message because it's not good manners to never keep in touch. Just to check in, like, hi, how's everything going? And really to make sure that they were getting their air conditioning serviced as well. And they got business out of that. When increasing revenue, that's a story about how you can sell to your existing database, which is repeat business. If you've got monthly recurring revenue because you're in a business like bookkeeping, maybe even like car detailing, something where you're rebooking your clients, then ask yourself, what other problems could you be solving for them? And that way you can again be selling through to your existing clients to solve more problems for them, and you're increasing revenue. And then you've got how you are going to attract new business as well. Now, how are you going to attract new business? We're getting into that marketing stuff, right? More specifically, we're getting into brand, marketing, and selling. So, what's that all about? Well, brand is like connection. You've heard we want to do business with people we know, like, and trust, right? Well, think of it like friendship. We want to be friends with people we vibe with. And your brand is how you show up with your personality. So your brand is your organization's personality, just like you have a personality. And then you show up all dressed up. So your clothing is like your brand assets, which is your logo, your website, your brochure. These are your key elements, and your social media. So I'll say that again. Make sure, say it in a different order. Make sure that you've got your, or maybe the same order, make sure that you've got your professional logo, please, your professional website, you've got professional social media, and you've got a signature brochure. I would also call that an integrity pack or $1 million storybook brochure. Now, a strategic bookkeeper has all the tools and resources to help you nail this stuff with ease. And I'll go back to, you can choose from done with you and DIY so that it suits every budget. And if you're feeling like, oh, I know I need help with this stuff, I just want to drop Jeannie an email, drop me an email and tell me a bit about yourself, preferably in an audio clip, but an old school email is fine as well. And so that we can give you some direction. Okay. But moving on, I'm going to focus on brand, because in terms of finding new clients and customers, in terms of creating a pipeline of inquiries, okay, which I help entrepreneurs with every day of the week, and they think it's like magic. It's like it takes a while, but then the phone seems to ring nice and regularly, and it's like, oh, all that hard work seems to have paid off, right? Because a pipeline eventually is both invisible and visible. It's invisible when people are out there just talking about you, following you, thinking of making contact with you, telling their friends about you. You don't know that these people are close to taking the plunge to say, hey, I might want to give you some money to help me, right? And then the visible part of the pipeline is someone who has put their hand up and is ready for you to say, yes, I can help. And another visible part of that pipeline is someone that you have sent a proposal, but for whatever reason, they either haven't pressed go or they said no. So that can be a little bit more visible. What we want to create through brand and marketing is a pipeline. Think about that for a second, and let's go back to that sentence. What we want to create through brand and marketing is a pipeline. We certainly don't want to be going out and finding one client, doing the work, finding another client and doing the work. We want a 24/7 sales system that creates a pipeline. And you're going to do that by getting your brand right. And I'd like you to do the 5% activities that give you 95% of the result. And then by doing the marketing activities. And marketing is about finding audience. So we just talked about a minute ago, to find audience, we want to really go down the rabbit hole of existing audience. Where are they? Who are they? Who are the people that are all around me? Am I telling them that I'm open for business? Am I making sure that I show up and hang my sign out, as I like to say it? How do we make that work? And then you've got partnership marketing, heavens open, holy grail. These are the three primary strategies. They may be the only three that you need, but if you want to go beyond that when you are ready, there's a couple more. So brand and then find an audience, and then you need to nurture that audience into a pipeline. Okay. Eventually they come out and you need to do the selling part, which is convert the inquiry into a sale. Now, while it probably sounds like there's a lot to do, there probably is, and that's okay. And help is there. So, as I've said before, we need attitude, gratitude, and patience. So, that's what you're going to show up with. And really, if you make a commitment to learning and building and implementing, because that's what this is about, learn what you need to learn, build the digital assets like a website, social media, signature brochure, and implement it all, and then test it and refine and repeat, then you will get there. If you made that commitment solidly and you invested time and a little bit of money in yourself and your business, dividends will pay off over a 12-month period. I've seen it over and over again. Sometimes tears and tantrums, sometimes a lot of hard work, sometimes frustration, but that's okay. My father said, life wasn't meant to be easy, but it doesn't mean it's not beautiful. It doesn't have to be easy to be fun and rewarding. Okay, so into brand, I'm looking at the Better in Business Global Academy here because in there we do have brand, the foundation of your business, and it is course material that is created that our strategic bookkeepers use when they are working with their clients strategically. So with strategic bookkeepers, think of first they're preparing those beautiful numbers. So up-to-date, accurate numbers. We call that numbers 101. Then they're going to investigate these numbers with you in order to see what the story the numbers are telling are. Okay, so ask you lots of questions and really understand what's going on around revenue, around your gross profit. That's revenue minus cost of sales. And then what's the net profit look like? What should these things all look like? Where is the pain? The pain's in 1, 2, or 3 places maximum, never more than that. In all my years, pain has always been in 1, 2, or 3 places. And then based on what we can now clearly see in the numbers, what do we need to do? So when my strategic bookkeeper network and I are working with our clients and we're accessing this brand foundation's intellectual property to help them in a done with you manner or done for you, or they may be DIYing. Well, when we're working with them, we'll be working with them to have a look at that logo, the website, the socials, and the brochure. So working with them to educate them to build and implement. Now, looking at that brand foundations course, I'm going to give you an idea of what's inside, and all I want you to do, because this is going to be high level headliners, okay, because you're not going to transform your business in a 20-minute podcast, but you are going to get the headlines of what you need so you can reach out and just brain dump on what you think you would like to do next in order to get some help. So basically, we have got an introduction, and then the second part is like an objectives and also a template. So inside you get a My Brand Playbook template, which gives you a template for all the things you need to build out a brand playbook. So we'll go a bit fast and furious. So what you need to do right now is say, oh, okay, well, do you have a brand playbook in place? No, you don't. Do you need to generate more revenue in your business? If you say, yes, I do, you need a brand playbook. Okay, it's the foundation of your house, how you're going to connect with your audience to build a pipeline. Everything gets easier when you nail your brand. So you say, okay, well, yes or no. Have I got that? Yes or no? The next part is called Start With You, and it's really how to get to know yourself, how that links to building out an ideal team. And then we go on to help you with writing your brand story, diving into who, where, why. So who is who you are going to serve. Think niche, think target market. Where are they? And I don't mean where is each and every customer, normally this would link to the audience building strategy of partnerships, because the where, and I know I'm going fast and furious, but have you really nailed this or not? How much help do you need? So where are they all located? And I'll give you an example. If your target market is graphic designers, they're all using Canva. What would happen if you had a partnership with Canva and they emailed their database a free ticket to your event? That would probably begin to create a pipeline. So where I like to call who's the shepherd of your sheep, and then why. So who, where, why. Why do you exist in the eyes of your audience? That's your North Star, your vision. Okay, so developing that stuff, which is absolutely the foundation of your house. For more on that, read Simon Sinek's Start With Why. So then we want to make sure we nail your secret sauce recipe to give you clarity, but to also begin to give you a unique selling proposition, also competitive advantage. So your unique selling proposition is at the heart and soul of your competitive advantage. If I have two plumbers offering the same service at the same price, then I need to look to what one of them has over and above. So one of them comes and gives me a bottle of Moet champagne and some chocolates, and the other one doesn't. But apart from that, they're all the same. So the one that gives me the champagne, I'm choosing that one because that's the competitive advantage. That's just a really basic example. And we do that by understanding your secret sauce recipe. Good news, your secret sauce recipe already exists, and I should be able to extract it from you in about 60 seconds. So if you're thinking, I don't even know what a secret sauce recipe is, it is your methodology for how you get a remarkable result for your clients. But if you don't know, then you could score yourself a 0 and say, well, I probably need help with this. Remembering this is all about, if you need to generate more revenue and more sales, you need to nail this as part of that. Okay. Brand marketing and selling to fill up a pipeline is a pretty big, juicy topic. It's a big, juicy thing to get right. Step one, you need to get your brand right. You cannot skip step one. You can't tell me, ugh, I don't understand this stuff and I don't think it's important for me. You have to get this right. Okay. And then we've got some more collateral on niching, because if you can narrow your target market into more of a niche, it's easier to find them. Remember the who, where, why. End of the day, it's easier to create that pipeline of work to increase your revenue. Then we've got some more really smart brand work around the 5 Ps, which you can also read about in Daniel Priestley's book, The Person of Influence. So it's some marketing principles and how you can begin to apply them in your business. And then we have a little bit of summary there. So in this episode, I really wanted to dive into increasing your revenue, but introduce you to what you need to have nailed in brand. Again, I know it was fast and furious, but now I want to explain what I want for you from this podcast episode. Number one, I want you to be able to go to the resources I shared with you, which is the one we drop in, which is the Business Mastery Blueprint. I want you to be able to access the book, Simon Sinek's Start With Why, even if you just do the summary of it on the Blinkist app or the Headway app, something like that. I want you to be able to grab Daniel Priestley's Key Person of Influence. Please do the whole book. It's only about 6 hours long as an audiobook. Okay, so that's a few free resources. You can also go to, in each episode, we'll drop into the show notes your business toolkit, which you can get for free at betterinbusiness.global. And then I want you to think about reaching out to tell us how we can help you with the problem that we talked about today, regardless of your budget. Okay, just remembering that you can elect from, and we'll help you choose DIY, done with you and done for you. So that's a wrap on this episode, and I'll see you in the next episode. I hope you enjoyed that episode as much as I enjoyed recording it. I would love to help you start doing better in business right now by giving you a free little ebook. It's a how-to guide. It's called The 7 Deadly Cash Flow Sins. And also I've developed a business health check for you. It's super high value. Both are available at betterinbusiness.global. If you would like to fire your bookkeeper and hire a strategic bookkeeper to start enjoying a return on investment and get the support you need to optimize your business cash and profit and time wealth, simply visit betterinbusiness.global, drop me a line and I'll connect you with a certified strategic bookkeeper near you. I'll see you in the next episode.